Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Here's my review of Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, spoil it.
This is the sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I can't lie, RB3. I like this movie, man. I did. I really enjoyed it. I feel like the decision it made in the beginning of the film to show you something, it does something that a lot of people were really upset about. But I thought that decision was a fascinating conversation and a fascinating question to have as far as what happens to John Connor, right? And what decisions lead up to Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, going forward after that decision, after that happens. I don't know if you want me to spoil anything for you.
No, spoil it, bro.
I've already had
for one, I've already had spoiled. For two, I really have no interest in seeing it.
So you know, you should see it. Okay. John Connor dies in the beginning of the movie. You know that.
Yeah.
The reason why people hate it is because it's John Connor. The reason why I'm okay with it is that idea of if Skynet really is determined to kill John Connor, how many times is it going to keep trying the same thing until eventually it does? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's such a fascinating question as far as, like, is John Connor's death inevitable? Is his termination inevitable? Because that's what keeps happening as far as Skynet. That's Skynet's decision. They want to kill John Connor. So yeah. I thought that was an interesting point, an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
What I like about this movie, RB3, is it talks about destiny and predestination and what humanity is leading towards, and is, you know, Judgment Day inevitable no matter what, regardless of who creates it, because of the decisions that we make in our current timeline. And if that's the case, with a future that doesn't have a John Connor, who fills that void? And the movie answers that with the character of Natalia Reyes, Dani, her name is, in the movie. She fills that role as the John Connor in the future, not because necessarily there's something special about her, but because leadership qualities in humanity is always there. And regardless of what happens to humanity, there's always going to be people who choose to take it upon themselves to make the right decision, who choose to take it upon themselves to unite people and not pull them apart. And that's what the character of Dani does in the future, where she has this ability with other people to bring them together and to fill that void that John Connor leaves. And I find that to be the most fascinating thing, because it's this idea of how leadership can be passed down to different generations and to different groups of people. And it's how it's not necessarily just one type of person, a military mastermind white dude. It can be a little Latina girl, and how that little Latina girl has the same qualities as John Connor, and she fills that void, and she becomes the John Connor of the future, her own version, in order to stop this new threat of Legion. It's not Skynet anymore, it's Legion. And I also like that because I thought the idea of Legion, obviously being from the Bible, the idea of the demons are many, and how it's this demonic entity that's hunting down humans. And it's that analogy of how humans are facing off with their own demons. And I thought that was like a fascinating little thing that's in the writing. But what really makes it cool about this movie is obviously Mackenzie Davis delivers. She kicks ass in this movie, and I think she's so cool as an action star and as a compelling character who really knows how to portray those feelings in very limited scenes. And I think that's what makes this movie so compelling, is that she brings that emotion to her character and that connection to the character of Dani, the protagonist in the movie. And obviously, at the end of the day, it's a giant action movie, and you kind of feel a little bit tired of certain action scenes, and I kind of wish they pulled back on the action scenes, but I know they kind of have to because it's a Terminator movie. But if they held back a little bit with the action scenes and gave me a little bit more with those character interactions with the character of Mackenzie Davis's Grace, her name is in the movie, and Natalia Reyes's Dani, I think that would have been a little bit cooler. But again, it goes back to the same message as T2, which is, you know, what happens to humanity, and is humanity's end inevitable through their decisions, or can new decisions come up in order to stop their sins, in order to stop their previous decisions? The idea of generational change, how one generation can correct the mistakes of their past. And that's something we see in the world nowadays. We literally just had an entire conversation about Parasite and about the idea of people taking it upon themselves to change something and to not just be complacent with what everything is going on. That's what I liked about this movie, RB3. And obviously, Gabriel Luna, man, is such a... I will never get over it. The T-1000, agree with me, or I don't know if you agree with me or not, is one of the coolest villains in movie history because of the designs that James Cameron created. And I feel like he brings that back with Gabriel Luna and the idea of this creature that's chasing you who has the ability to blend its skin, to blend in, to manipulate people, to have special powers that can go beyond themselves. And I think Gabriel Luna fills that gap and fills that void so well as being that intimidating creature that's hunting you. So, I don't know. That's why I enjoy Dark Fate, man. And I really do feel like, I know you don't care, but check it out, man. Spend $15 and check it out.
Well, I won't spend any money on it, but I'll use my AMC A-list for sure.
There you go. Use your AMC A-list.
Here's the question I have, because what keeps Deadpool from being a great movie to where it's at in my mind as a good movie is the fact that it has no directorial style. I don't think Tim Miller is kind of invisible throughout that entire movie. Is there any sort of style or directorial presence that you see in this movie, or is it just all CGI?
That's a good question. I feel like there is, but to be fair, to be honest, it's more due to the acting and more due to the story and the writing that I feel like there is. The writing is really strong. The acting is really strong. The directing is okay. I mean, it's not a super signature style, but it's enough to get the job done. And I feel like the actors and the writing kind of carries the movie a little bit more than Tim does. Nothing against him. Like, his action scenes still deliver. But I feel like the best parts of this movie aren't the action CGI scenes. They're just not. They're simply not. The best parts of this movie are Mackenzie Davis and Natalia Reyes having a conversation, or Linda Hamilton having a conversation with Danny. Those are the best moments in this movie. And the idea of the future of humanity not being connected to one vision, one face, one idea. John Connor is our future, the end. Not necessarily. Our future can be another face, a new idea, a new version, a new look. That to me is cool because it's this idea of leadership coming together, and that's from the writing. So yeah, that's Tim Miller's. Yeah, man. I mean, he still has Deadpool, which made a ton of money, but this is an L for him, in my opinion.
Oh, like a straight L?
Well, I mean, he bombed. I mean, that's how W's and L's are wins by box office, man. At the end of the day,
but
like,
for the
it
art,
doesn't matter how many people like this movie.
But for the art, is it a W?
Yes. If I had to lean one way, I would lean towards yes.
Yeah. So, but you would say, like, overall, like, it's a good movie, but just underseen because this doesn't have, like, because of the franchise reputation.
100%.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where I said it on Movie Talk the other day, but the conversation around Terminator sequels is just so sour, so bitter. People don't trust it. They fool me once, man. Like, this is the thing where it's like, I know what I'm gonna get and it's gonna be crap. Like, that's that predetermined view where it's like, why would I waste money to see L after L after L? It's gonna be another L. I know it because it's probability, right? Probability of a Terminator being good, a Terminator sequel being good, it's like super low. So why would I risk it with $20? Like, I'm not gonna risk it.
Exactly.
So I think that's why it bombed, man. I really don't. And also the trailer wasn't great. That trailer wasn't great, man. And you said it on Movie Talk, but that wasn't a good trailer.
Yeah, no.
But I do feel like people are having this weird anti-Terminator because all of a sudden there's women now, and I'm like, bro, there's been women since literally the first two movies are starring women.
Yeah, the TV show is called the Sarah Connor
Chronicles.
Yeah.
That is dumb. And I was like, well, it's because Latinos are ruining everything. And I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The fact that this movie is partially set in Mexico, it's partially in Spanish, makes it better, makes it different. You know why? Right. Because there isn't a lot of movies that have Latinos. There isn't a lot of movies that have Spanish in them, and they're Hollywood productions, right? There's Spanish movies, there's Mexican movies, but a feeling where there is the white people and there is Latino people and they're coming together, that's something I haven't seen in a movie probably ever, honestly. And that's something to me that does stand out and that should be celebrated because, like I said in my review, my tweet review that people flipped out, like, people need to realize, like, Latinos are part of this world, are part of this culture just as much as white people are. So let's integrate them and let's have this coming together and this idea that we can overcome our fears and our enemies through the humanity coming together. And that's why I like the character of Natalia Reyes and her kind of taking it upon herself to be her own Terminator and to be her own line of defense. That's such a good message, man. Like, you can say that to a kid nowadays, and that's a good message to have in a movie. Be your own Terminator. Defend yourself. Stand up for yourself. Bring people together, because that's the best defense you can have against an enemy or against your demons or a demon. That, to me, is like the coolest thing. So that's why I like Dark Fate, man.
Yeah,
that's my review.
And I think it is kind of cool. Salute to James Cameron. I mean, he gave Robert Rodriguez and Alita Battle Angel a
100%.
chance in terms of Latino or Latinx representation.
That's very true. And Rosa Salazar, Diego Boneta, Natalia Reyes. These are, come on, man. Let's keep Gabriel Luna. Like, come on, let's go. Like, let's get these people in front of cameras. Let's put them on screen. And you're right. I'm personally giving a shout out to James Cameron simply because of that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he had anything to do with the casting, but the fact that he gave people opportunities that gave that casting, that to me is already a victory.
Well, Edward Furlong is half Mexican too, so he's always been
right.
for supporting the cause.
There you go, man. Sure. Either way, man. Alita, Battle Angel. A big budget movie with crazy action scenes that kind of flopped.
Yeah.
Terminator Dark Fate. Crazy action.
Terminator's flopping worse than Alita
True.
is. And
True.
I think Alita has a very passionate fan base.
That's very true.
Actually will keep it going. I think they will do another sequel to Alita.
Okay. That's very true. But what I'm saying is I think these are two James Cameron movies produced by James Cameron in 2019 that are actually pretty good.
Actually pretty good.
And that people should actually pay money to see.
Yeah.
Go see Alita Battle Angel, rent it if you need to rent it, and go see Terminator Dark Fate just to make up your own decision. And again, like I told my mom, she was like, "What? This is still a crazy big action movie, and you still roll your eyes a few times at like, come on, let's get to the story." Because I do feel like action takes too much in this movie, and that's probably my biggest downfall in this movie is like, it's just too much. Let's get to the story because I feel like too much action.
And this is R-rated too, right?
It's R-rated.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused why they decided to invest $185 million into an R-rated movie.
Honestly,
when the Terminator Genesis was PG-13, right?
It was,
and that had a smaller budget.
I don't know.
That's literally true. Yeah. Why did it go the opposite way? I don't understand. All right, whatever. That's not my problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where studios will always want to see after Terminator 2. Studios always want to see big action scenes in the Terminator movies, which I get because T2 has some of the best action scenes ever. But at the same time, it's like we don't need to, man. We don't need to have so much action. That's probably my biggest downfall in this movie. Is like, come on, pull it back. Let's just have a chill moment where characters can interact and talk because that's the best parts of the movie, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's my review, and honestly, I recommend you guys check it out. And if you haven't seen it now, go check it out over the weekend. Obviously, I spoiled the crap out of the movie already, so
it's okay. I already spoiled for me.
So there's that. I think people need to get over certain aspects of the movie that it's just not really like. Was John Connor ever really that cool of a character?
I mean, he is the main character in all of the movies.
Is he though?
Yeah.
Is he though? Go back and watch T1 and T2. Is he?
Yeah, not T1. He wasn't even born in T1.
No, but what I'm saying is like T2, I mean, sure, he's the kid that kind of is the heart of the movie, but I feel like Linda Hamilton's character is the driving factor in that movie.
Yeah, for sure.